You made it. To the reading event for people who don't usually like reading events. I'm your host, Dayna Mahannah. For its 12th event, SPiEL welcomes you to the world of freeze frame. Interpreted by 6 writers from Vancouver and beyond. Through original stories and poetry, these writers are going to share a little piece of their minds.
I'm Joanna Baxter, also your host. The first SPiEL event was back in 2018 at a studio in Chinatown. Our nomadic reading series graced various stages and venues around Vancouver until going fully virtual in 2020. Over 100 people have read for SPiEL, from published authors to first-time poets. SPiEL exists as a soapbox for emerging and established writers to brave the stage and share their work. Because a story untold is a story lost.
Hello, my name is Rory. I am a writer in Vancouver who runs a website called varietal-literature.ca where we write short stories. And my freeze frame today is a piece called The Windows on the Dance Floor. The Windows on the Dance Floor by Rory Stevens. That's me. I was dancing in the East City Cabaret when the car slammed through the window. I remember it because it was one of those tight double-step swings that got the band sweaty and the brass pitchy. I was flaunting my girl in a sweetheart move, that twist with a hug, and the 2-story window burst into a galaxy under the red and yellow stage lights. I pulled her into a curl. Some of the shards stung my neck. It itched and hurt all at once. The rest hung in my hair or slid down my wool pinstripe jacket. The trumpet spun into a screech before stopping altogether. Then the whole hall was filled with the long cry of a car horn that echoed over the stampede of kids angling for an exit. My girl was still gripping my hand tight. We'd both slicked our grip with sweat. Her curls were sparkling with glass catching the headlights. She shouted, "Are you okay?" I nodded. She ran her finger around on my neck and pulled it back red. Shock must have been killing the pain. I thought I was just sweating. She pulled away from me to see my injuries, then recoiled farther. I tried to straighten my neck, but there was a grinding. My pain woke up. I instinctively reached back, but my hand bumped a cool glass appendage jutting from my spine. One of the few big pieces had stabbed me in the back of the neck. A warm sweat drooled around my neck and off my chin into a claret puddle between my knees. She bounced her curls with a shake of her head. A snowfall of glass showered off her head. She was saying something about getting help, but it was hard to hear over my heart doing double time. She cringed but shuffled back towards me to examine my injuries. I could feel most of them. I was stuck and sliced like a honey-glazed ham. My toes were numb and my fingers were cold. Then the headlights flickered, and I could make out the sputters of an engine. The lights shifted away from us as the car backed out onto the road. Someone honked, and its driver's side wheel was flat, so it spun when it accelerated up the street. Some of the dancers from the masses gave chase. When I fell over, the ring box dug into my ribs. It wasn't painful given the circumstances, but it was a reminder of the many times my nerve failed me. I told myself it was the wrong time every time that could have been the time. Regret was there for sure, as I imagine it is for most the dying. But what really stuck in my head, more than the glass even, was that she'd find it. She'd think this was the night that fate stole it away, and fate stole it away. I knew that would make it worse, harder to move on, but I couldn't feel my arms anymore, and my will was not enough to drive them toward my pocket. All that was left to do was hope the living could forget because the dead won't notice. Still, was a hell of a dance to go out with. Those double-time swings were a blast.
Past. Magmic under this black nylon cone, suppressing panic with self-deprecating jokes that accidentally come off as hostile. I don't remember it being so difficult to cut hair one length. The space between my arms and ribs boils like an air fryer as he dries my dry hair and drops a clip not for the first time. I have never seen an air fryer, but I'm pretty sure they exist. I count my breath and wonder if I am displacing generations of unexpressed rage at this man with a pirate ship tattoo sailing across his bicep. He straightens the hair and tucks a single strand between shears. Eventually I cannot contain myself and say, "Throw caution to the wind," hoping my smile accurately conveys to him to ram the scissors into my neck. Instead, he calls precisely 1/4 of a centimeter from the fringe and announces it is retro. Although I aspire to be like my aunt in many ways, hairstyle is not one of them. At the washing station, Dante's final circle, he marvels, "Isn't it amazing how a simple head massage can release so much stress?" And I have to admit he is right. Present. This is a poem I wrote with cut-up magazine pieces. Today I am trying to express an ideal place of sudden lakes and other similar gifts to keep us charmingly cultivating perspective. In my meditations I assemble a place composed of less recent clues: water, then most notably quiet, a place of wandering where I discovered you shouting the most beautiful and practical philosophy, even though it's merely the weekend and we are ordinary people in bed. Future. Lately, I have been excessively hunching my shoulders as a kind of private joke, tickled by the reflection prophesying my shuffling life, elastic waistbands and foam soles and a wit free-falling on imaginary ears, perhaps my own, younger. Perhaps one day, many years from now, while preparing olive oil cake for one, I will recall the lukewarm fun prematurely deforming my spine provided, and deride the childish elaborate ruse to disguise bad posture as something noble. Death. Purple inks from your wrists and shins like those most ominous nights, though you hardly sleep. Over the phone, "How's my darling girl?" reaches me without a trace of the effort it takes. I try to picture a life of diagnosis, but you build a house of mirrors and feed me carrots and chicken. You hold the whole family upon the base of your brittle mountain, where we fold into the beach and bend. Gray overcomes you in those final days we had braced for as long as the shoreline, which creeps closer to your basement. Mist rusts the mirrors. I can see as far as my hand and your hairdo. I say you look like David Bowie. You say you prefer Elton John. This is the last time I hear you speak, yet for a few more days your mouth hangs open. By now the ocean is at the stairs, ready for you. Against all odds, my mother can bear to lose her mother again, and so she unlocks the door. The last of your bruised flesh fades to gray. I watch from the corner, toes tucked between carpet. Suddenly, see.
Hi everybody, and hi everybody at SPiEL. My name is Paddy Walsh, and I am an emerging Irish poet. I'm from County Wexford in Ireland, and my freeze frame kind of moment is a memory from childhood where I just remember the whole day of spending time with my grandparents in an old schoolhouse where they lived, but neither of them were teachers. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll give it a go. The old schoolhouse. Paddy Walsh. One stripe of platinum runs across his freckled head, just above the handkerchief tan line. It shimmers in unison with the tie clip and gives contrast to his eyes. His suit hides and hangs neatly on his slender frame, dressed as a gentleman most weekdays, hands opposite to his clean white cuffs, marked and worn from chisels and planes. Addicted to chance, with pockets stained by small pens, built but could have owned the world. But trading 20p's on an 80s kaleidoscope carpet seemed a much more honourable duty for now. As the footage of Viking flagship beams out from the old telly, leaking that charming gassy smell, single cheese sandwiches arrive punctually, bushy hair, a woolly jumper with bobbles, and a pleated black skirt, soften and disguise the sternness. Quiet and unassuming, with the exception of the occasionally produced evil eye protruding from between slightly rosacea cheeks, she watches the classroom with familiarity, where today's syllabus consists of calculating the odds of a future lunchtime sandwich ever having more than one filling. And I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you understood my accent. So, enjoy your night.
Feeling overwhelmed by the modern world's breakneck pace? Are your children growing up too fast? Does it feel like your bills keep coming due way too soon? Do you often find yourself thinking of a comeback way too late? Don't you wish you could just have time to take a breath? If so, you may be a candidate for pause. Why bother learning better time management skills or taking improv classes when a single dose of pause will give you all the time you need? How does it work? Oh, I'm glad you asked, friend. Obviously, we can't literally slow down time with a pill. That would be wild, wouldn't it? No, pause temporarily overclocks your brain, dramatically extending your subjective perception of the passage of time. Seconds turn to minutes, minutes become hours. You can simply enjoy the peace and quiet of your own thoughts. It's great at parties. You'll have plenty of time to think of the perfect rejoinder for when that punk Gary thinks he's being clever. You put him right in his place. Pause has also been found to improve memory retention in some cases. Not only will you have more time to spend with your children, but those precious memories may truly last forever. Best of all, pause is technically an herbal supplement, so it's not regulated by the FDA. You don't even have to ask your doctor if pause is right for you. You only have to ask me, and I say yes. Order online today by going to our website and filling out our lengthy and invasive order form to have your first bottle delivered directly to your door. Don't live another day a slave to the passage of time. Hit pause on your life today. Possible side effects include dizziness, shortness of breath, blood clotting, depression, mania, suicidal ideation, uncontrolled pauses, seizures, and existential dread.
I thought I was a believer in life and love and all the fairy tales we're sold as children. But it turns out we're all liars in the end. We fill every waking moment, desperate to distract ourselves from the grim creatures lurking under our bed. We recklessly hurl ourselves into the mindless monotony of daily existence in the hopes that we will reach our end self-satisfied with a life well lived. I thought I was a believer, but the truth is, I am deeply afraid. Every time I close my eyes, I see your silhouette in the doorframe. It's just an outline of you, dark shadow against bright light, impossible to tell if you're coming or going. Every time I close my eyes, I whisper sorrowful goodbyes. Tears roll down my cheeks and soak my pillow. Such a cliche. Every time I close my eyes, I feel a fire burning in my chest. The heat of every word unsaid, every action never taken, every moment wasted in fear. So when you come for me, say my name. Feel the sound of it on your tongue. Feel it curl under your lip and dance into your cheeks. Feel it fill your mouth and unspoken whispers creep down your throat as you choke on the fullness of it. Say my name and know that you have taken everything.
Good day, everybody. I've got a poem for you this morning. It's called Grow a Pear, and it's directed to all you men and a few of you women who've had your heart broken, and you need to sit around and write love poems so we'll all understand your complicated heart. Thank you very much, but please don't do that. Spare us from that. Grow a pear. I'll write love poems. Love poems are for pussies. Teardrops on pages stained with your complicated soul. Please. Try living a little, you self-absorbed nitwit. Get your heart handed to you a few times. Feel how ordinary and ignorable you really are. How e pluribus unum the girls find you. Really, they do. How your hand-wringing doesn't matter even one tiny bit. Come down to earth. There's a deeper question here, and that question is, how do you best become a man in this troubled world? How do we do that? And for me, you can hide in a woman's bed and you can hide in a woman's heart, but she's never gonna see who you are because you're in the shadows. Step out into the sunshine. Step into some acts of courage and bravery. Let the monsters assault you. You need a good beating. You really do need a good beating. How will you ever know the man that you are when you're too busy being the man that you aren't? Grow a pair. Jesus, people. I don't write love poems because I don't love. Hey, I'm like you, there's lots of pretty women out there and, things happen. We all understand that. I just never wanted to see my ass kickings become public. I just never wanted to see them wallow in the muck, get all dirty. Ooh, who wants that? I'm really a prince. Look at me. Don't I look princely? Don't I look like royalty? I am, and so are you. Don't beg, don't seduce, don't politely ask for a woman's heart. Take it with breathtaking audacity. Take it, clench it with an unyielding grip so she sees the man that you really are, and not that man that you want to become one day. Please, when you do that, you don't have to sit around all day and write those sappy love poems. Please, spare us from that. We don't really need to see all those love poems that you write. They're pretty bad, actually. So, you've been instructed. Pay attention.
Well, that's a wrap for SPiEL 12, Freeze Frame.
Writers, thank you for braving the soapbox and for making SPiEL what it is. You have told your story and you are now YouTube immortalized. Audience, thank you for being here. We'll see you next time.